Alrighty, hello, my name is Nate Myers. I am a middle school computer science teacher at Wakefield Middle School here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I am applying to be a part of the NC Education Corps. And so I'm going to go ahead and answer the questions. So the first question says COVID-19 has had a tremendous effect on us and our communities. What is one joy? What is one sorrow and the silver lining? So one particular joy that I've had from the pandemic is that in many ways, it kind of reinforced what's very important to me and what's important in life. Obviously, family and just the connection with people, friends, your family, those who you're close to, has been really important. I think the social emotional connection that sometimes we take for granted with our students when we teach was really highlighted by COVID in terms of realizing, oh man, that's really valuable. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and so her daycare had closed down for a while when the pandemic first hit. And given the fact that I work full time, her mother works full time, we co-parent, and so I would say you look at if you had to do a pie chart of the breakdown of the time that my daughter spends between daycare and home, I mainly was only able to spend significant time with her on the weekends before the pandemic, and that's what it's like for many of us. We're working all the time, and our kids kind of get thrown to the wayside. When the pandemic hit and I had to teach from home and her daycare closed, she was with me every day. And in that 2, 3 month time span, that was the most time I'd ever really gotten a chance to spend with my daughter consecutively. And it really built a strong bond with us that we've continued now forward. And so she goes to daycare 2 days a week, but just finding that work life balance where I can still work, but I give so much of my time to my daughter because I want to. So that's been a joy in that regard. Being able to spend more time with my partner and connect and build with her has been great as well. So in a lot of ways, it's focused for me what's important and how to maximize those times. In terms of a sorrow that's come from this season, I mean, all of the deaths, all of the people that have been affected by COVID. I mean, I hadn't really gotten a chance to see my family in South Carolina at all in like a year now, and so getting my first vaccine shot tomorrow, and once I get my second one in March. I'm going down to South Carolina. My grandmother and my mom and my aunts, they haven't been able to see their granddaughter and whatnot and their niece. So I'm waiting for them. I'm excited for them to really see that. So that's been a sorrow. And one silver lining is that opportunity always comes out of tragedy and hardship. Without getting too spiritual or anything like that. Every kind of catastrophe or tragedy that happens, you can find opportunity for creativity and entrepreneurship and to be better than ever. Sometimes things are broken down in order to be built better than ever. So I think we have a great opportunity now to address some of the inequalities that we see in our education system. Tell us about a time when you were resourceful. Let's see. Oh, there have been way too many times I've been resourceful. I mean, um, off the top of my head, I'll just talk about how, teaching my kids currently right now, they're all virtual. And so making sure I'm a very hands-on instructor. I teach digital literacy and computer science. And so I like to do a lot of hands-on projects. It's a lot easier when kids are in the classroom because I can provide all the materials for them. So thinking about how do I address issues of equity, making sure that every kid has access to what they need. So one of the projects we do is I have my kids they learn how to build computers. They learn, what better way to learn about a computer than to tear one apart and put it back together. So I had to make sure I found a way to creatively where kids could do that at home. Now, granted, I couldn't buy computers for everyone, but instead they built prototypes where I told them, hey, whatever materials you have at home, cardboard, construction paper, you can use it to build a prototype of a computer. Obviously, it's not going to hook up into any electrical outlets, but that's one way you can do it. And then I had some extra computer parts here at school. So for kids who were able to come to school and pick up the stuff that they wanted to use, they could do it that way. But just finding ways where kids can use whatever materials they have in their house or adjusting my lesson plans to make sure that kids do not have to spend money to be able to access the hands-on projects that I do in my classroom. And it's worked out really great where students have still been able to feel to feel like they are included. We do stop motion animation, and so normally if they were in my class, we would use clay that I have. But I told them, doesn't matter what you have at home. You can use Cheerios, you can use Legos, you can use toys, you can use your dolls, whatever you have. So that's one way I've been resourceful, is constantly adjusting my lessons to make sure I can make sure equity is provided for all of my kids, especially those who may not have. And finally, if you were placed in a tutoring role, what would you do in a situation where you're struggling to connect or motivate students? Well, I do a lot of work on focusing on the emotional connection, social emotional connection. My work at Boys and Girls Club, my work here in school. So I really would spend a lot of time just trying to connect with the kid, to meet them where they are. What are their interests? What are their passions? What do they like? I want to take some time to get to know them and empathize with them first, and connect with them on a personal level outside of the academics. The academics will come. You got to have that social emotional connection first. And if a kid trusts you, then they're more willing to open up. So I would work on building that foundation of trust first, and then go back to the academics. Thank you for your time.